So this is Liddy and her friend Levis, and Liddy's now been at the shelter for a while. She came in as 18 months old. No, she came in as 13 months old. And she'd been living in a flat. She'd had no socialisation. Her owner said that she was okay with children. What's in there, Levis? Was okay with children, was okay with other dogs, and was okay with people, was okay in the car, was okay with cats. So we rehomed her virtually straight away, where she attacked a cat and attacked the owner for restraining her, and then came back, and ever since then she was difficult. So what she was doing when we were coming out of kennels was that she was coming round the back of people, herding breeds, and biting the backs of their arms, biting their insides of their arms, grabbing ponytails of people that were in front of them, basically because she was just too overwhelmed by what was going on in the shelter. So that was one of the reasons we switched to a harness rather than a slip. Was because a dog who's on a slip, if they've got deprived oxygen, they're not going to make the decisions necessarily, and their stimulation is going to be higher. So we'd got her a good harness that she can't get out of, and a very good lead, which has served me really well. So the very first thing that we worked on, because in fact I was walking down here with her, and I was doing a bit of sit with her. And she turned around, she looked at me. She looked, Liddy, she's eating grass. She looked at me as if to say, lady, I can have you and your pretty little treat pouch, and I could just run off in the forest. And there was a moment where I just looked at her and went, what are you going to do here? You could just attack me and I will be dead in the forest and you will be free. And I just went, Atty, and she just sat, and I was like, whew. And after that, I just gave her like loads of treats, and she was like, oh, that's how the treats come out of the pouch. I do a thing and you give me them. So Bob Bailey, who's an animal trainer extraordinaire and one of the real founders of positive animal training, he says about animals learning to play our silly little games, and that's all she had to learn to do. So she's too busy eating grass. Hello, Levis. Levis, Essie. Good boy. So she's now not doing any of the things that we did on video. So the very first thing I did with her was learn to sit, because a dog who can sit, you can then ask them for that behaviour much later on. Oh dear. And then we started doing some other things as well. Touch, yes. So the next thing I taught her was touch, and we also did down. Seems weird doing this with Levis and not Liddy. Good boy, stay. Good boy. So we did a lot of just very, very basic behaviours, mostly in the kennel and out here. And that was the start, because sometimes you can ask a dog and they'll let other dogs go by. Touch, yes. So I just did nothing but that for kind of the first month or so, and walking nicely on the lead, getting used to being in a harness, getting used to being in a muzzle. You ready, Liddy? Liddy? Yep. She might be a bit hot. Ready? We also, the other things that I was doing at that time was scatter feeding and teaching her get it. What's she after there? Liddy? Too busy by the grass. Liddy? Not paying any attention to me. Hello, too hot. So we did other things like find it. Liddy? Which she did. And drop. So we did, Liddy? Really? Hey, ready? Drop. So we did drop, and we did also, Liddy, find it. So I did a lot of find it as well, for lots of reasons really, partly for a bit of a dopamine hit to go searching for things, but also because if you can play find it with a dog, you can manage the dog when other dogs are going past. So for instance, if I say, Liddy, find it, when a dog's going past, she's more interested in finding that over there. Levis? Essie? Essie, good boy. So that was one way that we managed to get her to manage her emotions around dogs. And then the next thing I taught her, come here darling, Essie, good. So we did, where's the dog? Where's the dog? And then she looked right at Levis. There's the dog, you stupid woman. So I did a lot of, at the beginning, counter conditioning with the bar is open, bar is closed. So basically, every time she noticed the dog, we would be far enough away that she wasn't reacting to the dog. Main problem is redirected aggression, that she would turn back on me and attack me, which, because I can manage to keep her away from attacking other people and other dogs, but she was turning back and attacking me. So I didn't obviously want that, so we were far enough away that that didn't become a problem. And then every time she'd see the dog and not do anything, the bar would open, and I would just hand feed food all the whole time. And we would do other things. We would have surprise parties, we'd do drop it, we would do find it, and lots of other things like that. So that was one aspect of it, so that she could manage around other dogs. Essie? Good girl. Oh, cushion. She's also, I think she's got problems with the hip, which is why I think she prefers the down. Really good dogs. So we did all of that. And the other things that we were doing were things to do with her being handled and being touched, so that she would get used to things like this. You ready? Come on for Levis. Lady place. So we did this behaviour, which is a very nice behaviour. Good girl. Ready? Place. So that I can manage to get her in the vet. So getting her in the vet was one thing. We also did lots of trick behaviours, because it turned out that, you know, she really did like the trick behaviours. You ready? You telling me you're ready to work? 4? Yes. So we did the trick behaviours. Ready? Come on. Yeah. She's too hot. Levis is ready. Levis is ready and waiting. So between the trick training, which also built up her relationship with me, so she's got about, I would say maybe about 100 tricks. She can identify different things. We did scent work, we did lots of things that are in the traditional obedience canon. And we did lots of just walking and just being around. But the main thing was that she learned that bad things don't happen, and that she can trust me to look after her. So that finally we get to the point where she can meet another dog and she can actually be with another dog without attacking it. Yes, you can. We saw you. And that's she's got other learned behaviours so that she can cope when she's out in the world at large. Where we're not at is we're not at the point where people can cross that boundary, so that's a long way off. So we did muzzle training for that as well. But this is just really for anybody who thinks that choke chains, prong collars, electric shock collars are necessary. They're just absolutely not. I mean, these are what? And they've had every single bad start in life. Both of them. Neither of them are pedigree. Both of them are Malleys of a sort. Both of them came here for various different problems. Levis was escaping, was barking, was obviously when he was left alone in the house he was destroying everything, which Malleys tend to do, or dogs tend to do because they're bored, and he's not even 15 months old yet. Are you beautiful? Are you beautiful? Even this is an amazing thing, that she can just sit there and let Levis be near me and get food from me. Just everything about her is a different dog, which is just really amazing. So people who think that high drive dogs and intelligent dogs and dogs who are super smart need a firm hand, well, it's not necessarily true. If a dog is trying to get your attention and a dog wants to work, then just ask them, pushy. Yes, good boy. You know, he's ready to work, and that's the problem with, I think, with Malleys, is that they wake up and they're kind of like ready for action, reporting for action, and want to be working. Levis, he's not learned wait yet, she has. Leave it. Leave it. Good girl. Yeah, he hasn't, but he's only been in for a little week with her, haven't you? So we've got a long way to go, and you learn sit, and we're getting down. And he's on the beginning of that programme, but at no point have I ever had to punish them. And the main reason is that if I punish her, because she grew up with punishment training, she just attacks you, she attacks you, and it destroys the relationship that you have with her, with the dog that you've got. And I don't want that. I want a dog who feels comfortable that anything can happen while I'm with you, and it's all good. Yay! Isn't that right? What's he doing, Levis, you little monkey? And then you can just press the red button when we're done.